This is the site where Shibumi now stands. You can see the grid is out there. This is the building of the grid. We had no level at the time, so we actually balanced it all on 2 sets of staging to get level on the site. So this is where it's all been marked up and then welded into place. We flipped it over with this hired thing, and there more or less is exactly where Shibumi's sitting right to now. They're the 3 boys the time the steel came. They were very young men. So this all happened at 1 a.m. in the morning. We actually blocked the road, and we somehow managed to get it all in the gate in the middle of the night and literally dump it all over the lawns of the house, which was quite fun. So this is the following morning. All the steel had come overnight, and there's just lots of bits of boat everywhere. Quite daunting to look at it all, going, oh my god, where am I going to start? So the first thing we did is we made the frames that the boat was built on, the molds that had to be. There's Dara. So that's the bow section. This is me. And they got slowly reinforced. That's the bow section again, getting its backing strips put on it. So that's Joe Kelly in JCB in the background, helping to level out the site. So eventually we got all the stands standing, and you can see just the shape of how the hull is going to be formed. And the ground is all now levelled a little bit better. And then we loaded in the floor sheets. That took a whole day to join those, and we had to hire a machine to do it, and then slowly start tack welding the floor sections together. That's their bow sections there also getting tacked and lowered in. This all happened on a Friday, if I remember rightly. So bit by bit they were lowered in and literally dumped into the cradles. That's David. So this, I remember, was a Saturday, and myself and just the kids, and using some bits and pieces, span sets and slings, started pulling the centre of the boat together to get the initial welds on the centre line, as you can see there. And basically just a weld here and a weld there, nothing major, because we still had to allow it all to move and flex and find its own shape. And bit by bit, as we pulled it together at the nose, it all started to come. You can see the straps there pulling it together. And eventually we ended up with the front nose section closed. And that piece turned out to be quite accurate. But it was a whole day just to put that in. So next, that's the forward engine bulkhead, and that's the rear engine bulkhead. That night we're working under light. This was all done more or less in the winter time. So then the engine girders going in. That's now part of the engine room. So it's just really a case of piece by piece, adding, tacking, checking, and making sure that it was all right. You can still see even there the dips in the floors and everything. So there's the transom going in. And the start of the lower parts of the frames going in for each of the parts. Stern tube cutouts there that all got closed up eventually. and this is forward in the bow section, forward of the first bulkhead. So the ribs are going in forward for the bow with the walkways on top, and then the extension parts for the ribs on the aft cabin. There are the three sections for the transom. They were joined on the floor of the lorry. It was the only flat surface I had at the time. And then using lighting stands and my kids, we lowered that on to the back and tacked it. And there's the transom attached. So these are all stringers then, these are all really little, they're all cut to shape of the boat. And these are the forward ribs that had their backing plates fitted initially. And this is just ahead of the bow thruster. This part here had to be built on level again. Somebody had a birthday, that's Adam. And the bulkheads then get reinforced with, there's the flooring in the aft cabin, and then all the tops of all the stringers and the stiffeners had to be topped off with flat metal to stop them ever buckling, to give it serious strength. So at this point things are getting very close to getting side sheeting on, so everything had to be kept in place, barely tack welded. Then when you needed to, you cut the tack and moved it where you needed to. And so there was bits propping up bits, basically trying to hold it all together. So that's the last frame at the very front. It's actually in the anchor locker. There was a storm, so I didn't want the bits to bend, so I just tied them all together to stop them moving. So this is the anchor chain hatch should I say, and the second frame from the front back had to be built flat. And then in order to get that in on my own, we used some winches and we used these scaffolds to raise it up. I had to get quite inventive here and literally roll that scaffold, dump it into place. And then we built just extensions, and there was Dara and we used electric winches and that bit of lighting truss, and actually just Dara pressed the button the whole time. I think he was 6 or something. But we managed to stand up that front frame and get it welded in, because it literally had to sit there with nothing to hold it in place. So I'll start the coach roof going in. That's basically the whole coach roof fitted. That was taken late at night, so it's a messy picture. So that's the swim deck at the back, the inside of the aft cabin. Engine girders are now fully fitted and all plated off. You can see the strength of Shibumi now starting to form, welding in. So we're up at the bow, the nose section is put in. And the shine going in on the floor. That's the aft cabin roof parts all getting banded before they went in. So we're just coming up to the very end of 2007, which would be literally 2.5 months from when the steel came to Christmas of 2007. The next video will cover 2008 forward, and that's as far as the boat got in 2.5 months from the steel coming to literally Christmas Day 2007. Thank you.